So my name is Winnie Coco, and I'm also the Chief Executive Director and also the founder of Elimisha Binti Initiative. We are a nonprofit that works with girls who are deaf and hard of hearing in Kenya, but we are registered in Massachusetts. And what we do primarily is provide assistive technology as needed. We provide tuition assistance in terms of in form of paying fees. And we also provide personal hygiene items as needed and mentoring opportunities, which is so needed amongst the deaf population or generally the population with disabilities. And I'm here with my colleague, whom I'm going to let introduce herself, and my dear friend, Pauline, as well. And then Daddy Owen, we're going to let you introduce yourself as well. So Henry, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. It's morning here. It's afternoon in Kenya. My name is Henry Dakalu, and I'm so happy to be part of this team, Daddy Owen. I'm so happy to be in an interview with you. I went to school with your brother, Smith, at Kakamega High, so I'm just excited to be part of this. And hi, Paulie.
So thanks, everyone, for joining. My name is Pauline Sitei. I'm very glad to have met you, Winnie, and this awesome initiative that you have. As I was telling you, persons living with disability in Kenya is, a huge part. I think, about 2%, and I think, the females take a large portion of that. I think it's more than 50%. And so being able to assist or tackle, one part of, inclusion or disability inclusion is really exciting for me. So I'm very pleased to be here. And Owen, thanks for honoring the invite. I met Winnie in Boston, and a close friend to my sister. And so I'm very excited to know about this initiative and happy to support wherever I can.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pauline. And Daddy Owen, you're a celebrated and a multiple award-winning musician, a CEO also, and also a founder at Malaika Disability Foundation, whose objectives are to support children with physical disabilities, obtain corrective surgery, and also provide educational supports to students from needy backgrounds. That speaks so much to my heart, and given what I do as well. And it's such a pleasure to have you here. And so I'm going to let you introduce yourself as well. And I want zile zenye unasemanga, ile papa fololo, nakai nangai, ito yote.
So Henry, but by the time Henry saw my name, I think he already related, because my big bro, his name is Smith Mwatia. So
Yes.
I think Henry, you're familiar with the Mwatia name.
Yes, I know Smith Mwatia. That name I know it.
Oh, nice. So my name is Owen Mwatia, of course, famously known as Daddy Owen, gospel musician. At the same time, I'm a founder of Malaika Disability Foundation, as the intro has been done there. Hiyo ingine refu anasema sijui ndaisemaje. Naisemanga kama hakuna mic sisemaki. But I really appreciate to be here, because one of the things that we really struggle with is to find people who we share like the common goal, or we are here, the same soldiers fighting a common cause. So by just coming together, talking about this, for me, it's a good project that I believe moving forward. I've been crying for this moment. I've been crying for such moments, because sometimes you feel like you are alone. But when you discover that there are so many people fighting in different portions, but if in the long run you're fighting the same cause, you always feel like safety in numbers. So thank you so much for the invite, and I'm happy to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really resonate with what you say about feeling alone in this field, and that's a similar feeling that I have. I get it sometimes because, like you say, it's a very lonely field. It's not a path that is taken by so many people. And so finding, as you mentioned, finding like-minded individuals who are also like pushing the same agenda is a really awesome opportunity. And I just wanted to talk about where I started Elimisha Binti Initiative. And then you can also talk to us about what really motivated you to start Malaika. And thinking about my initiative itself, I started in 2012. And when I started, it was just me and a group of friends, and we would come together, put some money together, and pay tuition for girls who are deaf in Kenya. And I do have a background of working with students who are deaf. And one of my students in the past approached me at one time, and she requested me to help her pay for tuition because she was coming from a poor background. And at that time, I was working in Kenya. That was around 2009. And I believe my salary must have been $90 a month. That was, if I convert 100 shillings, that was like 9,000 Kenyan shillings at that time. So I really felt I didn't have enough to support her. And then in 2012, when I came to the United States, from 9,000 Kenyan shillings to around 50,000 Kenyan shillings every 2 weeks, I felt like I was the richest person in the world. Of course, the more you realize that that is nothing. But at that time, when I had just entered the United States, it was a lot. And so Kenya, the student that I was working with, and I told her, you know what, Christine, I texted her because she's deaf. So I texted her and I told her, you know what, I have money now and I can pay for your tuition. And so I paid for her tuition at that time. And then this thought just came to me that what if there are other girls like Christine who may need my help in one way or the other? And so that is when I birthed Bint Initiative, and I recruited 2 more girls at that time. And I was able to mobilize some of my friends to come together. And in that sense, we would put money together every month and pay tuition for those girls. So that happened between 2014 and around 2022. And in December of 2022, we formally registered in Massachusetts. And right now we are a 501c3 organization. In other words, a tax exempt organization by the standards of the IRS or the Internal Revenue System. And so we fundraise here, but we support girls back in Kenya. So having that background really bolstered me forward to start this organization. And Daddy Owen, I really wanted you as well to talk to us about the time when you started your foundation and what really motivated you to start.
Mine is a very interesting story. So my foundation was started in around the same time as yours, 2011, 2012 there. And mine came about, it was not planned because I just released a song. And this song was an inspiration from my own personal life. Because I remember around 2001 or 2000, the year 2000 is when I came to Nairobi from Kakamega, because I grew up in Kakamega. So coming to Nairobi, of course, as a young person, there's no work. It's just more of rural to urban migration. You believe that there are so many opportunities in Nairobi than in Kakamega. Coming to Nairobi, you reach in Nairobi, you're there idling for like 2 years, doing nothing. And then, unfortunately, you end up joining like a wrong gang. So I became like, for lack of a better word, I became like a gangster for like 1 or 2 years. But my turnaround came about when in Nairobi we call it mob justice. But me, I call it mob injustice happened to me. There's no justice there. So mob injustice happened to me. And when I lost one of my eye, I could tell or I could feel how people used to treat me. They used to look at me weirdly, treat me differently. And then I met, one day I was just in the streets of Nairobi and I met this white guy. And the white guy was like, hey, I can see your eye needs surgery. And I was like, surgery for what? And the guy is like, if you're up to it, because you see, at that time, I'm around 21, 20. So I'm still very young. And the guy is like, if you're up to it, you can come to Kikuyu Eye Hospital. I'm a volunteer from America. I'm a doctor from America. And I think I can offer surgery for free for you. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? So, in fact, when he gave me his card, he was like, he wasn't even sure if I'll go. But me, I decided, let me go, because I'd stayed with that eye for like 1 or 2 years. It was just giving me problems and problems here and there. So I went for surgery. The guy gave me like free surgery. He tried his best. And I stayed in hospital for like 2 or 3 weeks. And the guy catered for everything, for free. After surgery, the guy was like, I think by now, your eye, we've tried everything it can't see. We were not successful to make sure that it can see, but at least for aesthetic purpose, now it will look like it's seeing. And I was very grateful because it was really bad. It was a very bad condition. Like it was in a very bad condition. And a guy just picked me in the streets and decided to do surgery for me for free. I was like, one day when I become successful in this world, I'll try touch people's lives the same way this guy touched my life. And you see, those days, it was really hard even to have someone's contact. It's not like now people are having mobile phones and all that. So since that time till to date, I've never seen that guy. We've never met. Nothing. And I always treated like he was an angel, like just an angel in my life. And hence the name Malaika Disability Foundation. So that's the thing that really motivated me to start Malaika Disability Foundation. And this is before I became a musician. So by the time I became a musician around 2004, when my success came, I was like, as a musician, I need to look for a way to give back to society. And I was like, that guy planted a seed in my life and showed me how I can transform people's life and I can change people's lives. And that was the motivation for me to start Malaika Disability Foundation.
Wow. That's such a beautiful story. And I've had people talk about angels who come and do something and disappear. Like sometimes you literally turn back and the person, whoever you are speaking to, is gone. And in this instance, this is an angel who came and actually did surgery on you, and then you never met again. But again, like you say, he did plant a seed in you that really motivated you to start this foundation. And I really like the name that you chose for it. It connects to that larger divine purpose that happened at that time. So I think it's a very inspirational story. And at this time, I'm just going to let my colleagues weigh in. Henry, would you like to weigh in?
Yes.
Sure.
Right. Yes. Thank you so much, Daddy Owen, for sharing that story. It's so truly inspirational. And just hearing how you took that experience that you had from this stranger that came to help you to also impact on the lives of other people. That is just like the greatest story I've had in a while. And I didn't know that part, how you really were motivated to start this foundation. And I've been reading about it a lot since when I heard about it, about your work through Winnie. And maybe I may just want to find out what are some of the things that you've done in changing the lives of people with disabilities through your foundation?
So one of the major things that I did, the first campaign before I even registered my foundation was called Mbona Campaign. The Mbona Campaign was an initiative that was a byproduct of a song, because I had a song called Mbona Mbona Mbona. And this song was talking about the social injustice in our country and mostly targeting the persons living with disability. So the campaign itself is the one that led to the impact that led to the birth of Malaika Disability Foundation. And through the campaign, my idea or my main aim was to help other musicians who are facing same challenges that I was facing at that time. And mostly it was more about people just deciding to disregard you because of your condition. And I did a song with a guy called Deno, who is totally visually impaired. And the song itself generated a lot. And it was a good opportunity, like a launching pad for Deno. And since that time to date, the guy is living off his music. And you see, I always say, if God bless me to a level whereby I can bless someone to give him a platform or a foundation for, like, to date, the guy survives through music, then I thank God for that. And then apart from that, we help other people who were upcoming musicians, who were facing challenges through disability and all that. We help so many. And even after that, now through my foundation, wow, what I've done is, I don't know how to count it. Like every year, since 2000 and since 2012, every year I normally host an event called Malaika Tribute Awards. I normally host it December 3rd, and December 3rd is World Disability Day. So Malaika Tribute Awards, we normally pay tribute to people who've done great things in the society despite their challenges. So we're talking about Akina Mary Atieno, we're talking about Akina Henry Wanyuike, and those are the ones who you know. But now there are others who are doing great things. Like I can give you an example of Moses Wamalwa. Moses Wamalwa is a guy from Bungoma. But what he does is amazing. This guy is an engineer. So he takes like the normal wheelchair and put a motor on it just to transform it, to give it more power. So because if we say everyone will purchase a powered wheelchair, those powered wheelchairs start from 1, 2, 3 million and above. A common Kenyan mwananchi cannot afford that. So this guy just installed like a motor to it to make it look like it's a semi-autonomous. Is more of where there is a hill where normal wheelchairs cannot climb. Powered wheelchair helps you to do all that, but it's just a modified thing. And this guy is just an engineer in Kenya. So such people, we award them because we see what they're doing in the society, and no one recognizes what they do. And this guy is he's not even like a recognized engineer. This guy just decided, he was like, hey, my dad used to have a wheelchair and he used to struggle. And he was like, hey, for me, let me try and change how wheelchairs, because most of us, by the time we donate wheelchairs, we normally donate normal wheelchairs. We rarely donate powered wheelchairs. So this guy transforms and improves and modifies normal wheelchairs to become powered wheelchairs. And they are very affordable for every Kenyan mwananchi to afford. Apart from that, so you can imagine, since 2012 to date, I normally host that event every December 3rd, because December 3rd is World Disability Day. And we normally award 10 winners. And each winner goes home with a check of 100,000 Kenya shillings. This 100,000 is just to make sure that it's supporting what they're doing. Apart from people like Moses Wamalu, we normally award like social workers. You understand? These people who work in a children's home, they're helping so many children. You find someone works in a children's home, they've just been employed there, or they are volunteers in that children's home. Children's home has like 200 kids. Half of those children are children who are living with disability. And these guys are just volunteering to be there. So we award them. And I think by giving them a check of 100,000 is something that all of them go home feeling, wow, this is a life-changing moment for them. So I've done that since 2012. Apart from that, I normally host an event called Malaika Disability Walk. So Malaika Disability Walk is whereby we do a fundraiser to urge Kenyans just to give something, to chip in something small, to make sure that we get children who have a disability. You know, there are different forms of disability, mostly when it comes to physical disability. You know, there's neuro and physical. But when it comes to physical, there's an information that is not out here in the public. And it's a major information. This is that more than 85% of physical disability, those conditions that we attribute as physical disability, is correctable when a child is still young, 0 to 5 years. It's very correctable. And when this child grows up, you can never tell that this person was born with any form of disability, because at that time is whereby things like bones are developing, muscles. So it's so easy for you to help that child to get intervention early. By the time they grow up, they'll grow up without that kind of disability. So for me, for example, when I meet an older person who has club foot, I always feel sad, because I know this, if the parent or someone will tell the parent or anyone around that person when still a child that this condition is correctable, he will not grow up with that condition. But when you're seeing them when they're already mature, you always feel like, wow, there's nothing I can do at this point. Yeah. So we do that through Malaika Disability Walk. And apart from that, I at the same time, I do what we call grant consultants. So sometimes I use my brand name to go to big or major companies in Kenya, like Safaricom or Coca-Cola or any other corporate, and I do a fundraiser. And one of the biggest achievements I've done with that is I built a children's home in Eldoret. Children's home that has a capacity of, right now we're talking about 287 children, who are, all of them have a form of disability. And then apart from that, last year I built a ward at a hospital called Kiwa International in Kijabe, a full ward, because this hospital one, it's more of a pediatric hospital. So the biggest issue that was happening in this hospital is most of the time they get children and they perform surgery for free for these children. But these children come from areas like Marsabit, Turkana. So when they travel all the way, they come to Kiwa Hospital. Reaching there, the hospital has no beds for the guardian. When the child is admitted, where will the guardian sleep? Because they have these small beds. Yeah. So I told them, I was like, now what we can do, if our target is to bring guys from the marginalized areas, we must make sure we have a ward somewhere that the guardians can go and sleep by the time the children are in the hospital. Because most of the time, these conditions or the procedure that is done takes a lot of time, because you'll find after surgery, the kid must be in the hospital for like 6 or 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. They can't travel to Marsabit. Yeah. So it's a long story, but just in a nutshell, those are the things. I might be forgetting a lot, but in a nutshell, that's what we do as Malaika Disability Foundation.
And I think that is so impressive. And what I hear you saying is that you are bringing that 5-star experience even to the rural areas, and by you giving the access for those families when their children are getting treatment, and then you give them that such kind of access, that is something that we do not see a lot in back at home in Kenya. So I really like that aspect that you bring in about bringing such kind of provisions for families when their children are receiving such kinds of interventions. And Pauline, would you like to weigh in?
Yeah, I think my question to Owen was, have you explored crowdfunding or the events like the walk and corporates? And if you've explored crowdfunding, how has that worked? Is it within the country or outside of the country?
Yeah, you see, what I try to do, because every year, one of the major service that I provide is to make sure that more than 250 children get free surgery every year. Every year, I try to make sure that more than 250 children get free surgery, and at the same time, they get assisted devices from wheelchair, prosthetic limbs, and all that. And I used to do it alone. Then guys were like, "Hey, manze, blessing, we must tap into this blessing. We want to support. We want to be there. We want to, you get it?" And I was like, "Let me open it up for each and every person to participate." And I started just last year opening it up to other people, because most of the time, what I used to do, it was more of using my brand, going to corporates and asking corporates to give money, and they used to support. But at the same time, I feel the more I'm using my brand for other people to feel like they are participating, because someone says, "Me, I have 50 bob. I don't have a lot, but I have 50 bob. I believe with my 50 bob, I can help somewhere." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine. That's fine." So right now, I try my level best to make sure that even the public participate in the contribution and kuchangisha.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Pauline, for that question. And Owen, thank you so much for your response. Yeah, as an organization that is just starting off, like myself, one of the teething challenges that we encounter is that fundraising and just mobilizing the larger community to come in to help and partner with us. I must say that in my community here in the United States, I've been able to get that community, and I have a lot of support from them. But then again, coming back to the Kenyan context, and I hear you're a brand name, and at least you have that, God has given you that platform to enable you to get such opportunities. I think it's really great that you're using it in a positive way. And yeah, we can't wait to learn more from you. And I just wanted to bring us to the second aspect of this conversation, and these regards challenges that are facing persons with disabilities in Kenya and also in other third world countries. And when I heard you speaking, Daddy Owen, I heard you speaking about a lack of early intervention, whereby families or parents are not aware even of their children's disabilities until they're much older. But if you're in the United States, early intervention is something that is readily available. It's free of charge. The government pays for it. And children have access to things such as corrective surgeries and even some behavioral interventions, like any kind of intervention that they may need before the age of 3. And so I hear that that is something like it's not a strong area for us. And also thinking of employability and skills training, I feel that that is one very huge gap that is there when it comes to persons with disabilities once they move from secondary institutions and getting into the job market. So thinking about career, vocational, and technical education, where are we with that? And I believe those are some of the really big challenges that are facing persons with disabilities in Kenya. When I started my organization, one of the things that I looked at was these girls who are deaf and hard of hearing. What or where are they going beyond high school? And once they finish high school, and a few of them are able to join the career, vocational, technical ed, where else can they get employed after they've had such training? And so I looked at the work that you do at Malaika, and one of your educational visions is to build a vocational center for persons with disabilities that will help move them from the children homes that you're creating at this time into career, vocational, technical ed, where they will acquire and sustain skills that is going to help them in the future. So how did you arrive at that vision, and how is it going at this time?
I think one of the biggest challenge was transition, yeah? Because I know most of us, we normally get a chance to go to the children's home, visit those children, give them something and all that. But no one asked the question that after that children's home, after these guys get to 18 years, where do they go to?
Absolutely.
Because it's called a children's home, yes. It's not a mature home. It's a children's home. Now, the biggest question is, after these guys now, they've developed, they're not children anymore. Where do they go to? From there, I came up with an idea, and I was like, we've been witnessing a lot of rape cases in those children's homes, a lot of molestation in those children's homes, because these guys who were children 18 years ago, most of them, you discover that after they go to school, yes. After that, most of them, for the children's home that I deal with, you'll discover most of them have a form of disability. And our system in schools have not been tailor-made to absorb these children who have any form of disability.
Yeah.
Because the syllabus is just made for, most of the time, children who have disability. Then past that is like, as long as we've given you the basics, now you need to fend for yourself. Absolutely. But who is there to consider that these children, after that, they need to go to high school. After that, they need to go to tertiary education. They need to go to, if it's a technical school, if it's university, if you understand, because no one pays attention to that area. Everyone is just like, oh, like right now, if you go to the government to talk to them, they'll tell you, oh, we have a syllabus for the blind. They have brails, but it's more of a way of shutting you up. How many teachers do we have who can teach with brails? We have mute kids, we have deaf kids, we have, who is there to make those syllabus for these children? Apart from just having the syllabus, how many teachers are there to teach these people? We have kids who have issues with the speech. You can't say they'll never speak forever, but with training and all that, these kids, maybe after 7 years, 10 years, they'll start talking. But where are the teachers who are there to do that for them? So the transition policy or program in Kenya is poor. And I always fight with the government about that. Like every now and then, I'm at their doors, knocking, asking them, okay, now where are we right now? So my dream is to make sure that these kids after primary school, because you'll find that most of the time, they're given their attention when they're still very young. Yes, we get that, because you'll find guys visiting the children's home. You'll find guys talking about the children with disability. But once they hit 18 years, it's like they are left for the world. They are left for them to fend for themselves. How?
Mm-hmm.
You're a blind person. Where will you start?
Absolutely.
You understand? You are on a wheelchair. Where will you start? You have spina bifida. Where will you start? So these are the things that I'm talking for, because for me, my dream right now is transition. Transition is very important. We must make sure if you're starting to work with this child, this kid was born with autism, you must equip them to make sure that they're equipped, one, to make sure they can be integrated with other children. Apart from that, life is not about playing alone, because the government will tell you, oh, we have occupational programs for them to be integrated with other children. But life is not about just playing. After that milestone of playing, there's studies, there's learning. After that, there's working. Where are these opportunities whereby you can say a child who was born, or a person who was born with autism or Down syndrome, they have an opening somewhere. So my dream is transition. I'm pushing the government to make sure that where we are right now, we have more technical schools for persons who have disability, who can join the technical school, and then they're equipped to become teachers, to become nurses, to become, give them an opportunity depending with their capacity and capability.
100%. 100%. You know, it's like,
Really, can I jump in just a little bit?
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Henry.
All right. So when you speak about government, and I know that recently we've had enactment of laws that have permitted maybe inclusion of people with disabilities in our current Parliament, Senate, and all that. Have you had any success through such people to have legislation that permits for that transition that you spoke about syllabus before in training?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
As we speak, one of the major bills that need to go through Parliament, and it has never gone through, is the amended Disability Act. And this Disability Act was amended during Kibaki. And do you know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Is when Kibaki got an accident. If he had never experienced, or he had never got that accident, I'm telling you for free, even today, nothing would have happened. It went through because of Kibaki, and it was only because Kibaki was on a wheelchair for it to go through. So right now we're looking for so many amendments, and these amendments, I can tell you for free, even the nominations. That's why, if you look keenly, I'm really active, and I want to join politics. Not join politics because of becoming an MP or becoming all that. Mine is to make sure that I fight for these things in the policy level. Because if you don't fight it in the policy level, then we're just making noise.
Yes.
If these things are not implemented, then we're just making noise.
Yeah.
So we have so many things which are pending, even right now. The pending bill that we're talking about is the new Disability Act. And this new Disability Act, if it goes through, it will change so many things. Everything I'm talking right now, because I was given an opportunity to write the transition segment on that bill, and I'm the one who wrote it.
Wow.
And that's why I'm very vocal about it, and I'm very passionate about it, because my dream is to make sure that we must make sure the transition happens, because without the transition, even what they're talking about, that every corporate should make sure that they have 5% of person with disability, how many corporates implement that?
Exactly. You
understand? How many?
Yeah.
Yes. Because I went to Safaricom. I told Safaricom, a good example of Safaricom is there's something called a call center. A call center, if you just train people who've gone to school, like a child who was born with who is visually impaired, went to primary school, went to thicker school for the blind, and then they went to a good tertiary school, they know how to speak English and all that. Assign them work at call center. It's just receiving a call and responding. What's so hard about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because they're telling there's these challenges, and I'm like, I know people who are well educated, kina Timu Wanyonyi, who are well educated, and they're on a wheelchair.
I know, and they
So you can decide as a platform, the easiest job just for you to meet that percent, because right now Safaricom have agents who have appointed more than 20,000 young people who are dealing with call center for Ethiopia and Kenya. So my question is, out of the 20,000, why can't we just make sure that at least, because think at School for the Blind, every year they produce young people who are looking for jobs. Because I gave them a very good example. There's a very good program here in Kenya called Wings to Fly.
Yes.
By Kenya. What Equity does, it supports children from primary school, and then high school, and then university. After university, the first thing they come from, if they are even in the university abroad or even in university in Kenya, the first thing they do, they are absorbed in the Equity branches.
Yes.
You understand? It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Like literally giving them wings. Literally giving them wings.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love what you're saying. And thinking about even employability, like where I am, a lot of times when I go to the stores, you find that people who are working, the cashiers who are checking people out, are the ones who are organizing stuff along the shelves. For the most part, they're usually persons with disabilities.
Yes.
You'll find that is elderly people. That's what you'll find them doing. And also when it comes to tech, you will find a lot of persons with autism and also persons who are blind. A lot of them are in the tech industry as well. But there's employability, like there's some form of equity and access for them, at least in this context. And so talking about Kenya and thinking about our own situation, and even given the research that I did when I started my organization, I do have, at this time, I have 2 girls who are enrolled in a career vocational technical education center in Kenya. And one of the concerns they always tell me is that they do not have an interpreter. And here is a career vocational technical college that is specifically for the deaf and the blind, and yet there is no interpreter. But maybe they have a few of them that they cannot go into all the classrooms to interpret for the girls. And so they tell me that every time they go to the classrooms, the teacher just speaks. And so they have to lip read, they have to really struggle by reading their books, and they are being held to the same standard as other typical peers who are also going into that college. And so thinking about the aspect of access and equity, how do you feel access and equity is being met in our country? Do you feel that we are in a position where there's some growth in that area, or is it something that we need to improve on back home?
Every time I enter into a meeting with anyone in government or anyone in the higher places, I always give them this quote: disability is a club that everyone and anyone is a candidate. Because you never know. You might end up being in an accident. Tomorrow you lose your eyes. You're in a wheelchair. So these are things that if you don't change right now, they'll really affect you, even you in future. And even once we grow older, most of us have one form of disability. Either people lose their eyes, people lose their mobility, people lose their functionality here and there. So when it comes to access, there's a time like around 6 or 7 years ago, I really pushed so many corporates from Stanbic, Barclays. At that time, it was Barclays. It was not ABSA, KCB, to make sure that we try our level best, that anyone who has any form of disability, the accessibility of basic things is possible for them. Number one, I had a meeting with the Kenya, it's called Kenya Architects Association or something. And I told them, how are you building all these buildings you are seeing in this country? And there are no ramps. So your plan is anyone who has any form of disability cannot access your building. Number two, I've been pushing the government to put a flyover near where the National Council for Persons with Disability offices are on Wayakiwe. Because how do you expect people to come to your office and your office is for persons with disability, yet it's on a highway, and the people who come there, they are dropped by a matatu on the other side. So they have to cross the road.
Yeah.
They have to cross the road. And the road we're talking about is Wayakiwe. It's a highway. It's a super highway.
Yeah.
How? Tell me how. You get? So these are the things that I've been fighting for. Like, whenever they see me, they run away because they know I'm very vocal when it comes to that part. And I give them facts. I give them facts. And I tell them, these are simple things that if we push, it will happen. You understand? It's only that most of the guys don't talk about it as much, or they're not keen about it as much. But I believe moving forward, I've seen great change in so many things. I've seen great change. Let's not just talk about the negatives. I've seen great change. Number one, when it comes even into politics right now, they're still trying to add more nominated MPs or senators who have a form of disability. This is something that was not happening a few years ago. And I remember even the other time when our president was naming the cabinet, I challenged him when I met him, and I challenged him, and I told him, how come in your whole cabinet there's no one with disability? You get, yeah? So I believe through what we are doing right now, we are going to cause a disruption and change in a positive way. We can't say everything is lost. We can't say everything is not working. We can say there are few things here and there which have been, because even right now as we speak, I'm trying to push the government to make sure that all public hospitals, all government hospitals can provide a simple surgery like cleft lip or clubfoot. Instead of all of us waiting for donors from abroad. That's a simple surgery. Surgery like cleft lip right now, we should not be talking about. It's a simple surgery. So if the government can just offer that even for free and do free medical camps. I've seen like devolution has brought about a lot of change. There are some governors like Oparanya was doing like those medical camps, and we could see some changes from devolution from different governors and different counties.
Yeah.
But I'm still pushing for the national government because you see, a national government is like the flag bearer. When they say something, it's law. So I'm still pushing. I believe there's a lot of movement that is happening right now. There's a lot of progress. We are going somewhere, but unfortunately, it just needs a lot of push each and every day. If you push today and forget tomorrow, just forget it. Will die a natural death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's always upon the current generation to make it better for the next generation. Yeah.
Speaking about that, through Malaika, I've started something called Malaika Disability Club. So it's like remember scouts, how scouts were in schools.
Yes.
It's a club that you enroll and join. So in this way, I want to start teaching young children in primary school to know what is disability, to know how to treat other children, to understand what is disability. So by the time they grow up, they know what are the rights for people with disability. They know how to treat persons with disability. They know how to fight for the rights of persons with disability. So that's my dream, planting a seed in these young guys when they're still very young. So when they grow up, they embrace the membership. Once you enter into the Malaika Disability Club membership as a member, you will fight for the rights of persons with disability.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. It's really nice to hear how you're championing everything for persons with disabilities, and it's so exciting, and I can't wait to hear where the rest of this conversation is going to go to.
Okay, all right. Owen, I know you've spoken about the progress that has been made so far, and I really appreciate the many facets that your work is taking. And I come from Western. In Western, there's huge stigma about disabilities. And in the work that I used to do with students with disabilities, we noticed many children that were being hidden at home. Has there been progress in that specific area? Do parents indicate any shift in the way they perceive children with disabilities so that they don't just hide them at home, but bring them out so that they can be educated?
And just to answer your question, that's exactly why I'm starting the Malaika Disability Club, because through our research of finding children who they need surgery and they need help, weirdly, most answers we used to get, or most information we used to get from other children, because parents will never take it. But when you go to primary schools and show them a photo of a child who has club foot and all that, you ask them, do you know anyone who has? And they're like, yeah, my brother, or my cousin. So you see, children are very innocent and they'll tell you. So when you go to the parents, they're like, we are the rogue one. And it's difficult, but at least you have the information. And you talk to the local chief, you talk to the local government, they'll help you to get those children. That's why I'm really pushing for the Malaika Disability Club to start. Because once it kickstarts, these kids are the ones who will expose such conditions or such situations to us. Because when you just need information from, or depend on parents to give you the information, most parents will know. But children are very innocent and they'll tell you, I have a brother, I have a cousin, or I know a child in our village who has been locked in a house and they have this kind of condition.
Yes. That's a very bold step that you're taking, and a very important step that is usually missing for the most part, that aspect of advocacy. And again, speaking back to what Henry just said about the stigma that is attached to disability, and also, and I want to say, quote unquote, the shame that some parents or guardians perceive as a result of having a child with a disability, is so much that they're hidden for the most part. And so advocacy, I believe, is one of the very beautiful aspects that is coming out of your work. And so I really like what you're saying about that. And again, working for our students, our children. Sorry, I work with students all the time. I'm always mentioning students. All right.
No, I want to say thank you so much for this great conversation. I mean, I can hear Owen's passion coming through. Owen, that makes for our next meeting. That's all we're going to talk about. I didn't realize how passionate you are about this topic. And you know, even as someone in the corporate side, you know, I'm quite challenged about, you know, what some of the things we need to do around disability. We need to do more, because a lot of corporates, we just do the safe stuff. So thank you so much for making time. Unfortunately, I have a hard stop. I have another call in 1 minute, so I'll need to drop. But thank you, Winnie, for having me, and Henry, it was very nice to meet you.
You're very welcome, Pauline, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Pauline.
All right. So Owen, just to close off, I've heard you speak about the role of the government, and I hear that you feel they need to improve on the area of early intervention, so providing those free corrective surgeries for students for children with disabilities, and also creating accessible facilities for the children, having those early intervention practices in place in order to aid the children. What other areas do you feel the government can chip in to help persons with disabilities, especially with regards to the transition bit that you spoke about earlier? I think it really speaks to me as well, and it's one of our objectives at Elimisha Binti Initiative.
I think instead of reinventing the wheel, the government should start working with the other private sectors, other foundations that are already doing this work. You understand? Instead of starting again another process, because people like us, where I am right now, through Malaika Disability Foundation, we're already making a curriculum for children who are born with disability. You understand? We're trying to make sure that we have a curriculum for them. We're trying to make sure that children who have things like autism, conditions like autism, Down syndrome, everything is catered for, because from our end, we understand what they really miss. So for us being there for all these years, in a way, we are experts. We understand this. We understand the situation. We understand the condition. We understand what is lacking. So my number one request to the government is to urge them to work with other people, other players, like in the private sector, people who, other foundations who are doing the same thing instead of reinventing the wheel. Because most of the time when you hear the government starting talking about such things, you'll hear, hey, they have an initiative or a campaign that is, we have a program that is about to start, and then they start from scratch. Then when they start from scratch, when another regime comes in, the regime, they say, that one was for the other past regime, let's start another one. So every 5 years, you'll find that we are doing the same thing over and over, and there's no progress. But you see, if you work with organizations that already supporting girl child who needs school fees, we already have organizations that are supporting young boys who need mentorship. We have organizations that are supporting disability. These are people who've been in this field for years and years. So just support the initiative, just fund the initiative, just call the players on the table and ask them, how can we improve this? Instead of us starting a new program, why can't we just attach, you understand, and support you in whatever you need? Sometimes you don't even need money. You just need access in all these things. Because for me, the first thing, if they call me on the table, I'll just say, I want the Disability Act to pass. Because I know once the Disability Act has been passed, so many of our dreams will come true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, it begins from policy. It all begins from policy. Like once you have that in place, then everything else will just fall into place, as long as you have fierce advocates like yourself and us and other people who are doing this kind of work in the field. Yeah. Right. So lastly, thinking about your philanthropy work and everything that you're doing, what are some of the challenges that you're encountering in this work?
Whoa, I think when we started this conversation, you said we are very few. And the biggest challenge about disability is, for a lack of a better statement, I would say is more of like a lifelong condition. So once you start helping someone, it's like you'll help them for the rest of their lives. They'll depend on you for the rest of their lives. Apart from that, in Kenya, we have this statement. We always say, disability, unfortunately, disability and poverty go hand in hand in Kenya.
Yes.
So most people who have those kind of extreme disability, you'd find they can't afford even a simple, or because conditions like autism, there's a level of autism when a kid has autism through things like speech therapy.
Yes.
If they are born mute and all that, they can go through the studies and all that, and the trainings, and maybe by the time they reach like 10 years, they'll start talking. But you see, it's very aggressive because it needs a lot of money. It is a lot of money because you have to pay the speech therapists and all that. So the biggest challenge is this is a journey. Once you start working with this person, no, number one, you'll work with them, you'll work with their family, their brothers and sisters. Because for me, for example, if I get a child from Migori who needs surgery, once I go there and say, I want to help this child to get surgery, trust me, I'll not just do surgery alone. The moment I go to that Boma, I need to buy shopping. I need to bring this child or kid to Kijabe.
Yeah.
I have to cater for their transport, their accommodation. I must make sure after surgery, they must go to school. I have to pay for their school fees. I have to buy their uniforms. I can't buy a uniform for one child in that homestead. I have to buy a uniform for the rest of the kids.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense that one has shoes and a good uniform and the others are walking. You understand? So it's a journey that once you pick it like this, just know it's a long journey. That's why I normally say, in a year, I make sure that I offer 250 surgeries to children. But the impact that it creates for me every year is more than 2,000 children. Because I have to help the children in that area. I have to help their extended family, their family. And eventually, you'll find that it's more extended to a level whereby you'll pick other programs that were not yours, because mine per se is not to give school fees to kids who are not disabled. But in your family, you'll find that maybe I'm going to help Moses. Moses has 5 siblings. I have to help them. It's not in my need to help them, but I have to help them. So that's the difference. That's one of the biggest challenge. That's one of the biggest challenge. Second is the moment you say you are helping persons with disability, everyone has that how do you call it, woishe thing in their mind.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we really want to help, we really want to help, we really want to help.
Yeah.
But they'll help only on the onset. Past that, you'll carry that cross along.
Yeah.
Because once you post and say, hey, this child needs a surgery, guys will be like, how much is it? You say it's only 250,000. They'll give. But remember, that's just the initial cost.
Yeah.
Moving forward,
Yeah.
you're the one who will cater for everything for the rest of their lives. So, and then false promises from people who mostly politicians, they like sentimental stories. They'll be like, huyo mtoto tutamsaidia, huyo mtoto tutatembea na yeye, Daddy Owen, after hii mkutano nitafute, nipigie simu. I'm telling you, you look for those guys, you'll never see them again.
Yeah.
And you've taken these kids from the village, you brought them to the hospital. There's a bill there waiting for you. You understand? And then you look at a condition like prosthetic limbs. Prosthetic limbs, and right now, I don't know why, I'm working on a research. We're having a very huge number of young girls who are getting cancer. And it's most of them, it affects one leg to a level whereby the leg is amputated. And once they amputate the leg, you see they need a prosthetic limb. And you see prosthetic, just to afford one prosthetic limb right now is between 750,000 to 1.5 million. And mark you, they are growing. So it means this child, until they reach 18 years, you'll have to change one of that foot for the next like 4 or 5 times. And if one is at 1.5 million, every 2 years you have to change.
It's a huge undertaking.
And these cases, I don't know why, I don't know what's happening, but we're receiving these cases from the past, from around 2022, late 2022, 2023. Last year alone, we've had like more than 20 girls with the same case. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's the reason. Richard, I've asked so many doctors, they don't know the reason. I think we just need a research to be done to understand why we're getting so many young girls with that condition.
Yeah, absolutely. Some conditions are unexplainable, and sometimes you find that a phenomenon happens within a community that cannot really be understood, and that is really interesting. I didn't know that. Maybe something to look into as well.
Before I forget, and once you drop, you're a bad person.
Why were you helping and then you stopped? Now they say maybe you've taken the money from somewhere, right?
See, for you, like, let me give you a very good example.
Yeah.
You see, for Malaika, our purpose is not the whole journey. Our purpose is just surgery.
Yes.
You understand? Our purpose is just surgery. We just get that child, make sure they get free surgery, and we move on. But you extend it because you're like, you've seen the condition, you've traveled there. Once you stop, even when they ask you for shopping,
yes,
and you say, hey, I don't have money for the shopping, you're a bad person.
Yeah, I know. And some of these perceptions are what we really need to change as a community, because it really, sometimes it breaks the heart of the supporters as well. I see that in my work too, where I go into the community and I find that community is very needy. It's not just this child that I'm going to help, but the parent perhaps has some 8 other siblings who need similar help. They may not be disabled, but economically they're disadvantaged. And so you find that they need a lot of support as well. And so bring them along, like the entire family. It's costly. When you stop, you become the bad person. So again, I think it
And
speaks.
the perception. And the other perception,
Yes.
you get money from donors.
Oh yes, you get money from donors. Are you eating them?
Can I tell you the truth? Weirdly, I normally tell people this thing and they never understand. Malaika has never received money from any donor from abroad. Never. Weirdly, for the past, like, I've done this for more than 10 years. I've never received money from abroad. I've never.
So all the support is just local.
Mine, all the support is local. I've never.
It's so impressive. Yeah.
Wow, it's impressive.
I've never gotten anyone who says, "Oh, I'm from abroad," or this organization, they are partnering with us. I've never.
Yeah.
Mine, all the support is just local. Local support.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. I always tell my friends that Kenyans are a very good, like they're a great group of people. When they decide to come together towards a common cause, they do very wonderful works. And I really appreciate even me myself having coming from the Kenyan community. I really think we have a great community that is always willing to help and support one another. Yeah, Henry, do you have anything else to weigh in before we end the conversation?
No, I know we've taken lots of Owen's time, and obviously he's a busy man. I just want to appreciate your time, Owen, and really seeing your passion has been an inspiration. The work that you're doing, I have learned a lot. Winnie and I are working with the state here, and we do work with students with disabilities, but for the most part here, the government provides most things. So it's just making sure that it's being done the right way. But oftentimes I ask myself, where really can impact be felt? And I think listening to you, there is a need back home to make that change, and just being part of what Winnie is doing and looking at what else can be done. You've taught me, you've educated me. I believe that this won't be the last time that we're speaking, that through you, there will be ways of getting to the ground, maybe, and just finding a way of making an impact. At the end, you are talented. You're using your music and your passion to make an impact and change the lives of people with disabilities. I really, really appreciate, and no one else can say thank you to you other than God.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. If not for God, then really you cannot do such kind of work. It takes a special kind of person, or let me say, it takes God's grace and love in order for you to be able to have that spirit that enables you to do such kind of work. And so we really appreciate you. You're such a strong and a fierce champion. And I can't wait to see what we can do together if we work together, God willing. And I, once again, thank you so much for taking the time off your busy schedule. And we really do appreciate you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your time, both of you. And I believe this is the beginning of something very great, because, like I said, I've never had a conversation with anyone from abroad. This is the first time I'm having a conversation from abroad about this thing. So I believe this is a journey that will be championed by us. And I believe you guys are exposed. Now you're exposed better, and your input is what we need. How it's done there. Because for me, I don't have like a blueprint of. There are things I'm just guessing. And there are things I'm just like, I believe this is what should be done. But you see, you guys, we can say you've benchmarked. You know how it's done.
Yes.
And you're the resource we are looking for. Yeah. You're the people who should come back home and tell us this should be done this way. We should change this here. You're that, because like for me, it's more about what I see, what I feel, and the things I read about. But you, where you are, you've benchmarked to understand how it should be done. So you are the resource that we are looking for. And may God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. May God bless you too.
And
Thank you. Yeah, and I really like that you say that we are that link that you've been looking for. And again, I really cannot wait to see how much more we are going to partner and work together. And I'm going to share the links for Malaika Disability Foundation once I post this video online, and also the link to Elimisha Binti Initiative, just so that our supporters can see where they can come to support us. And thank you so much. We wish you a very lovely night, and I look forward to further conversations with you.
Amen.
All right.
May God bless
you. God bless you too.